Harzephr's four eyes darted nervously between the flickering holographic displays and the sealed blast doors of Research Outpost Kepler 442b. The atmospheric readings showed nothing unusual, but something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The perimeter sensors went dark 12 minutes ago, chirped her assistant, a young Vorthak named Skix whose normally iridescent scales had dulled to a sickly gray. Starting from the eastern quadrant and moving clockwise. The Kepler system's harsh twin suns cast long shadows across the barren landscape visible through the reinforced viewing ports. This planet was supposed to be lifeless, a perfect location for their xenogeological survey. The Galactic Research Consortium had assured them that the only dangers were environmental, radiation storms, unstable terrain, and the occasional seismic event. They hadn't mentioned apex predators. Dr. Zephyr's species, the Altarians, had evolved from prey animals. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, but there was nowhere to go. The next supply transport wouldn't arrive for 3 standard cycles, and their emergency beacon had mysteriously failed along with the perimeter grid. "Doctor," whispered next the team's crystalline geologist, his normally melodic voice cracking with harmonic distortion. "Look at screen 7. The image showed twisted metal and scattered equipment where monitoring station Alpha had stood. Deep gouges scored the reinforced hull plating, gouges too large and too precise to be natural. Whatever had done this possessed both immense strength and surgical precision. We need to contact the orbital platform," Dr. Zephyr said, reaching for the emergency communicator. Dead static answered her attempts. "The communications array." A thunderous impact shook the entire outpost, sending equipment clattering to the floor. Emergency lighting bathed everything in harsh red as the main power grid fluctuated. Through the thick walls they could hear something moving, something massive dragging itself across the metallic hull with deliberate, predatory patience. "It's testing our defenses," Skix whimpered, his translator barely managing to convey his terror. "Looking for weaknesses." Another impact, this time against the northern wall. The reinforced polymer groaned under the assault. Dr. Zephyr's hands trembled as she activated the distress beacon, knowing it was likely too late. Then the scratching stopped. For long minutes they huddled in the central lab, listening to their own breathing and the hum of failing life support systems. Dr. Zephyr was about to speak when a new sound reached them. Footsteps. Heavy, measured, and distinctly bipedal. "Did someone else get assigned to this mission?" Nex asked hopefully. The outer airlock cycled with a familiar hiss. Dr. Zephyr accessed the security feed and felt her 4 hearts skip in unison. A figure in standard environmental gear stood in the decontamination chamber, human by the look of it, though she'd never seen one in person. "This is Dr. Marcus Chen from the UEC survey ship Endurance," came a calm voice over the intercom. "I picked up your distress signal. Is everyone all right in there?" Relief flooded through the research team. Humans had only recently joined the Galactic Consortium, but their reputation preceded them. They were said to be remarkably adaptable, if somewhat primitive by galactic standards. "Dr. Chen, thank the void you're here," Dr. Zephyr replied, her voice cracking with emotion. "There's something out there. It destroyed our perimeter defenses and—" "I know," the human interrupted. "I saw what was left of your monitoring stations. Impressive work. Your local predator is definitely Alpha class. Roughly 4 meters tall, hexapedal with natural armor plating and retractable claws. Fascinating adaptation to this environment." Dr. Zephyr stared at the screen in confusion. The human sounded almost appreciative. "Dr. Chen, you need to get inside immediately. That creature could return at any moment." "Oh, it's still here," Dr. Chen replied casually, probably wondering why its prey isn't cowering anymore. "Don't worry, I'll be with you shortly." The inner airlock sealed, and Dr. Chen stepped into the main lab. He was smaller than Dr. Zephyr had expected, with the characteristic flat features and forward-facing eyes that marked humans as evolved predators. But there was something else in those eyes, something that made even the Altarian's prey instincts recognize a fellow hunter. "You're remarkably calm for someone who just walked through an active predation zone," Nex observed, his crystalline structure flickering with nervous energy. Dr. Chen shrugged, removing his helmet to reveal graying hair and what humans called a smile. "I've dealt with worse. Earth has a saying, the best defense is a good offense." Before anyone could ask what he meant, Another thunderous impact shook the outpost. This time, something tore through the outer hull with a shriek of rending metal. "It's inside the outer perimeter," Skix gasped. "We're trapped." Dr. Chen's expression didn't change. If anything, he looked almost eager. "Excuse me for a moment. I need to have a conversation with our uninvited guest." "Wait!" Dr. Zephyr called out. "You can't go out there unarmed." The human paused, reaching into his equipment pack. Instead of an energy weapon or force projector, he withdrew what appeared to be an ancient tool, a simple length of hardened metal with a curved edge. "This is a machete," Dr. Chen explained, testing the blade's edge with his thumb. "My grandfather carried it in the Amazon. Figured it might come in handy for field work." The three alien researchers watched in stunned silence as the human headed toward the compromised outer section. The sounds of conflict that followed defied description. Roars that shook the station's framework. The screech of claws on metal, and underneath it all, something that chilled them to their cores, human laughter. The battle lasted exactly 7 minutes and 33 seconds. When Dr. Chen returned, he was spattered with dark fluid that definitely wasn't his own blood. In his left hand, he dragged something behind him, a massive skull, easily 1.5 meters long, with razor-sharp teeth and empty eye sockets that had once held the malevolent intelligence of a perfect killing machine. "Magnificent specimen," he said, setting the trophy down with obvious satisfaction. "Classic ambush predator design, but it made one critical error." "What error?" Dr. Zephyr asked weakly. Dr. Chen's smile widened, revealing his own predatory dentition. It assumed it was the apex predator on this world. He pulled out a small device and began recording notes. The musculature suggests it could exert approximately 12 tons of bite force, and those claws could penetrate standard hull plating. Remarkable evolutionary achievement. I'll need to take samples back to Earth. Our xenobiologist will find this fascinating. As the human casually dismantled one of the galaxy's most efficient killers for scientific study, the three researchers finally understood why the Galactic Consortium had been so eager to recruit humanity. They weren't just remarkably adaptable. They were what nightmares had nightmares about. Dr. Chen looked up from his work, noticing their stunned expressions. "Don't worry," he said cheerfully. "I'll help you repair the station before I leave. Can't have you folks stuck out here unprotected." He paused, glancing at the skull with something approaching fondness. "Besides, where there's one, there might be more. This could turn into a really interesting research project." In the distance, something howled in the alien night, and for the first time since arriving on Kepler 442b, it didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like an invitation.